All right, welcome to Google Chrome. I'm Edge Freak. So I'm going to mute this, and I want you to watch the creative director. That's Paragon's boss. Paragon is the ex-director of Dust 514 and the brainchild of the quadrants that were, as you all realize by now, just marketing crap for the usual expansion patches they put out. That, nerf or buff or whatever when they're at CZB's win. So I'm going to play it, and you'll notice two physical body language stuff out of him in two parts. So I'll show it to you in entirety, then I'll replay it. Hand in pocket, just kind of sauntering along. Hey, hi everybody. And then he, this is, what do we have here to entice the audience? This idiot. Yeah, okay. It's looks like a Terminator Mark model. What's the handsome version of the Terminator models? T1000. So instead of coming out like this, with his arms raised, with teasers in the background of stuff that might excite people to go, okay, we're here. You had a lot of promises from your immediate underling, CP Paragon, promising all this stuff. There's no real teasers of that promised stuff on the billboards up front. We're expecting some kind of cool new announcement. Where is it? And this guy comes out with his hand in his pocket going, yeah, everybody. And then he goes, oh, it's your fault for not getting excited. So I'll play that again in entirety. I just don't want you to miss the cues there, because he deliberately made the audience nonplussed at first in order to go, hey, we're excited, why aren't you? And it's just, no, I mean, yeah, it's just kind of pathetic. So I just wanted to point that out, because right off the bat, that's a sure sign they got nothing.
Hello, FanFest.
Hand in pocket, saunters on. Hello. Hey. And people are starting to build it up. I mean, they're okay. Well, all right, whatever. Cool. We're getting into it. There's cheering. There's
Should we try that again? Hello, FanFest.
I mean, what is this? A sitcom where they have the applause guard? I mean, go out there excited, not dressed like a drab idiot. I mean, with a hand in pocket, with a smirk on, and your mug plastered on the. Come on, have teasers up, get people excited, tease them, be excited. Not this. Yeah, hey everybody. So yeah, lol. So I'll just keep making these snippets, and I'll push them, mash them together whenever I've got a thought, and I'll make it short, of course, right? Yeah. He's trying to put context to things by using metrics. So we'll just ignore what his point is, because it's nothing. How can you have context without comparison? Okay, so this is interesting. In 4 years, 48 million. So that's 12 million a year. That's 1 million a month. That's pretty cool. Averaged out, right? So 1 million ships are manufactured by players per month in EVE. That's pretty impressive, actually. I mean, that's kind of very, very, very scary, because you wonder how many ships are destroyed per month, right? Will he get to that context? Probably. They love destruction.
You've destroyed almost 30 million of them.
Okay, so that's... Give me a second. Grab my calculator here. Uh, 30. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Divided by 4. Divided by 12. Okay, so, you know, 500,000. So, 60%, yeah, easy. 62%, 63%. Or let's 2/3 of those ships are destroyed. So every month we make 1,000,000 ships, and every month, 2/3 of those are destroyed, on average. So that's interesting, you know. I mean, I'm sure days down the road, this information, I might think of some new revelation from this, but it is interesting. So I take away from that, that's interesting.
Them. Job well done. And then you've blown up like 7.3 million capsules, you know, basic stuff. But the next number is actually one of my favorite numbers, because you have also destroyed 1,059 Titans.
Oh boy. All right, so 35 quadrillion in those 4 years was traded. So that's every month there's 730 trillion ISK credits traded per month. Now let's take that into context. Like, unlike Burger, you can't know context if it came up and hit him with a hammer. That is by 1.5, which is a 500 plex, times what is it, $25 for 500 plex. So that's every month we trade the equivalent of $12,000 in real money. So our player base is trading. Yeah, it's kind of interesting, but at the same time you're like, okay, number that, and like I said, it's just a number. It doesn't give any context. It's just a number. And CCP Burger started off this stats monologue by saying, to give this context, let's show you some numbers, and it's like that's not how this works. But whatever.
Yeah, I mean, people sometimes make fun of the Icelandic economy, that it's kind of fake. This definitely makes the Icelandic economy look fake. So, job well done. Woohoo!
Yeah, not at 12,000
And
a
all
month,
that
buddy.
creation and destruction has brought us, back here to Reykjavik for a fantastic weekend where we can talk and breathe and laugh and cry and form new friendships, all in the EVE universe. And it's pretty awesome.
Approaching Stargate.
Talking about new friends, over the last couple of years, we've been investing a lot in our new player experience. Really supporting our new
Blah, blah, blah. Alright, I want you to listen to this and tell me what you think of his idea that going forward, they're going to evolve. They have a plan. They're going to evolve the new player experience into a better thing. Yeah, there are numerous attempts. It's just going to be another numerous attempt. It's just going to be them throwing away what they did before and trying something else. And it's always been one pathetic attempt after another of basically just not understanding their player base and how to play the game. I mean, you talk about, oh, the this game is great and it's fun to play, and we're gonna do the new player experience for the new players, and you're like, you don't even know how to play the game in the first place, so what hope do you have, right? But
Has been a reality from the very beginning. And through numerous attempts, we've tried to soften this curve with various results, to say the least.
it's still, you haven't softened this curve at all.
One key problem that we've always run into is that we've always viewed this as a problem, like, hey, here's a problem, can you fix it? Rather than an ever-evolving, long-term initiative.
Yeah, I don't buy it at all.
And that's a big, huge change that kind of
Yes, no, it's not. It's, you tried it with the quadrants, and you've done a big, huge change all the time with everything. But it just turns out to be you and reinventing the same old broken wheel, the same old broken record you've always done.
kind of was kicked off at Amsterdam in 2019. Eve is a vast, complex sandbox with incredible freedom given to the players that make it their home. In the real side of reality, most people don't have core competencies to live an independent life until in their kind of late teens, early 20s, or in my case, much, much later.
Okay, completely irrelevant anecdote, but okay. Welcome to Rich Guy's TED Talk. So, this guy is part of the new player experience, and he builds himself as part of Team Odyssey. I think I remember, if I recall correctly, and he described it as a storyline team. And the first thing that came to mind is, well, you really screwed up the grammar in Aura apologizing at some point for apparently a future depressing thing she says, but in fact what it was depressing black humor she'd said in the previous script, and then she moves on to apologizing, but the grammar's all screwed up. It should have apologized for the prior bad joke, and it doesn't go anywhere, so it's a bit confusing. So if he's a storyline guy and the MPE is storyline crafted, yeah. And he talks about, all this stuff and storyline and narrative. I'm like, oh, that's why the I hate my daddy butthurt Orca fleet commander, who doesn't give you a burst and doesn't show you compression, is the way it is, because these guys are it's just a narrative to them. They're just building story. That's it. As the three pillars talked about earlier, I'm not going to bother showing, they're just pathetic, but the ultimate sci-fi experience is just, that's what they're doing. They are narrating the ultimate sci-fi experience, and they have no clue how to play the game, no clue about grammar, no clue about past or future tense, and they're not integrating with the actual gameplay that you expected, especially with the new compression coming in and them doing the MP at the same time. So it's like, oh, that's why.
Starting with the team's first release in September 2021. So, the first chapter of the Air MPE picks up as soon as the player has created a character and opted into the tutorial. We have a cinematic that introduces the player to New Eden and sets the scene for the first moments of gameplay. You can see it here.
Yes, those build is completely immersive, as in you're going to be strapped in and you got no choice except to quit the tutorial completely.
This is the
Or
aftermath of an attack
skip
on the Air clone.
skip the video and then move straight into this. And it's like, okay then, that's really immersive. Yeah, they want you to immerse you in the ultimate sci-fi experience, narrated by a team that was built on just storyline. Yeah.
Loading station that you've just woken up in. We worked closely with art, cinema.
And I wanted to break in and record this little bit just to point out there's almost a dozen minutes and you can hear a pin drop. There's no cheering, there's no, oh my god, right on, this is what we came here for, this is great, this is what we were waiting for. Paragon promised so much and he delivered, and woohoo, you know, there's no cheering, there's no like gasping, there's no catcalling, there's no snide comments from hecklers, there's just, it's just pin drop. That's what I wanted to point out. It was just really cringeworthy, you know. But there's no NFT buzzwords yet. I haven't heard it yet.
Cinematics and audio to create a smooth transition from the cinematic into the game, which you've just seen.
Yeah, they did that. Do you ever play the game Homeworld? That was like into that was 20 years ago, but get a grip. All right, listen carefully to the next sentence he says and realize that it's only the squeaky wheel that gets the oil when he says it. These sweaty meetings.
All with narrative justification. We hint at how mining is the backbone to the economy of New Eden, that there's a vast machine at work toiling day and night to provide the fundamental ingredients for everything that's built in the cluster. And we also revisited aspects of our September release. We always want to strive to improve what we've released. So we updated the skill and fitting moments in that release to provide better narrative justification. And
you mean shoehorned the mining upgrade that replaced the repair module that you... Why did you do that? Why didn't you just... Why did you shoehorn it that way? Just... Yeah, we always try to improve things we've worked on. Yeah, right. Sure, CCP. Piss in my ear and tell me it's raining. Alright, so... there's a lot to unpack in the next 3 seconds. So, he's going to show you a graphic, and he's going to talk about two different things. So he's going to show you a graphic of two of the MP experience characters being slotted into the Bartle types kind of thing they're doing with the industrial exploration, blah, 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 right? And he's going to slot two of them in and leave two of them blank. And my immediate thought is, you cook this up as a cute little thing, and you're never going to get to the other two, ever. And if you do, it's going to be, oh, we just slotted in another one. Here's a new character for this one. And it's going to be, alright, so this tutorial that you only get to do once, and if you skip it, you don't get to do it ever again. What makes you think you'll be able to build on this to have that particular character go through that particular... Because they're thinking of... I've heard that they talk about revamping the career agents into... This will be the character dealing with the career agent-like missions going forward that put you into that kind of area. That would be good, and it looks like that we're trying to do, but it's all... How can I put this? It feels all a bit... Okay, well, so far we've got the PvE guy.
As you've seen in the story so far, we introduced several key characters: Aura, Balin, Vesper, and Elias. We want this to be a character-centered.
Okay, so this guy who couldn't couldn't do Logi to save his arse. He's doing both shield and armor rep from his air Logi thing from far range, and then the next instant he can't even rep you from 10 kilometers away. And this guy is the whiny I hate my daddy the mining fleet foreman who can't give you boost and doesn't know how to teach the new compression. Yeah.
Experience. Players form strong emotional connections with well-developed characters, and this in turn promotes immersion and engagement in the universe.
Yeah, and the problem is every single time these characters are introduced into the Eve universe and the community actually builds a bond and starts to make A, fan fiction about them, and B, start to actually get invested, these guys kill them off. It's a track record of killing off people that the player base gets invested in, 100%, because it goes in directions they're not expecting.
We don't want the player to feel as if they're alone on their journey. These characters don't just drop.
And it's interesting he just said that because StrangeNet, his critique of the keynote, mentioned that currently the missions in Eve are basically solo. They're built for solo work. There's no real impetus for a level 4 runner to welcome a new corp member into their player corp and say, oh, totally cool, you can join me and help me do this mission, and you can share proportionally about what you contributed, right? No, it's not. If you share a mission in Fleet, that other character gets 50%, like an equal share of the reward, which is great for rushing people, but at the same time, it's not a viable thing. So, yeah, it's interesting. He tried to imply that there's so much airy fairy bullshit going on.
Drive the story along. They're your companions on this adventure. It lets us give each career a relatable representative and use these characters to ease the player into more complicated scenarios and mechanics and systems. As we introduce,
And the problem is these guys just make from whole cloth mechanics that only work in the career agent. Like the career agents we currently have, we've had forever. They have things that will never happen in game other than the career, and it just builds this false expectation. You know, it's just a gimmick. So this is just another gimmick they're doing. I mean, will you ever see that mining site again ever in your experiences with, I mean, that Elias Pelton guy in the Orca at that weird mining site? Will you ever see that again? Will you ever mine with a bunch of other miners to complete just like the hell?
introduce each of these characters, we want the experience around them to feel like a taste of what it'd be like to be a member of that profession.
And that's the problem. This guy wanted you to use an ECM module on a ship that isn't built for ECM against one battleship where there were two battleships pointing that bowhead. Why didn't they have just one battleship pointing the bowhead? So it would make sense, because you think, it gives, you're absorbing so much information, and before it turns to mush, players might think, oh, ECM is viable to rescue people like this, and it's like, duh. You know? Yeah, there was, why introduce that particular mechanic? You know, why? But it just, it just fails. It's just, they have no clue. So yeah, I'll stop there. I don't think he's going to say anything more interesting or lie even further. All right. So I muted him. I watched to the 15-minute mark. So up to the 15-minute mark, the only cheering that has actually happened so far is when CCP Burger did that, as you saw, lackadaisical encouragement. And that was it. They should have just put in laugh tracks. But yeah, you could hear a pin drop for the first 15 minutes. This is just retention. But it's like, look, we got 99, we got 100% retention for everything. It's great. We're just awesome. And you're like, yeah, so you've got their attention and you're feeding them full, you're treating players like mushrooms. Yeah. Keep them in the dark and feed them bullshit. But yeah, so that's the first 15. You can hear a pin drop. That's my takeaway. There are no NFT buzzwords, and I think they shoved this guy out in front of the cameras because they were going to talk NFTs, and now they got nothing. Yep.